So a lot of people who've been playing things like Fabled Lands and Vulcanverse, which are huge, sprawling open world books in particular, tell me that they end up basically making a diary of all the things that they've done. Um, One guy, I think, actually even wrote a novella based on his Fabled Lands experience. And it's very funny, actually. But there's a lot to keep track of, even with code words, keywords to help. You've got to deal with your inventory and crossed out items and quests you're on, the sort of thing that a computer game would keep track of for you. But in a game book, that can get very complex. So, what's your thinking, Pavel, about how, particularly in traditional print game books, how do we deal with the player having to remember all that stuff?
So I think that we don't have much options here because if you decide if author decided to create the open world game book with a lot of attributes and keywords, we need to track it on paper. Of course, there is a possibility to create the app companion. But when I was talking with the players and with game book lovers on fair and on conventions, they were not particularly fond on playing at the same time on the book and on the app. They
Mm.
would rather like to have something solid. They would like to, if they play on the non-digital version, they would like to keep it that way. They just don't want to mix these genres. So I think we cannot escape from the sheets on which you write down the topics. For that, if we are thinking about the game book in sense that we have only the book, but what we did in Stormweaver Stronghold, which is a mix of the game book and the board game, then in this case, we as a stats we used the skill cards. So we have in Stormweaver Stronghold, we have three protagonists, three dwarfs. Each of them, they have five cards for five ability cards that they can use, and this each of these cards has three levels. And once they progress, they can upgrade the card to next level. And in this case, we are addressing the topic of signing something on paper, right? Because this is paperless. You have just cards, and you play with these cards. And also, when you finish the game, you just put the set of cards into the pouch. So you don't need to save anything, right? Next time you just open the game, right? And you take the cards from the pouch and
Mm.
you have the statistics of it. And likewise, we did the same with the items and with the spells. And also we replaced the keywords with some keywords tokens, where also you can put everything in the pouch and this game is loaded when you open the pouch. But this is valid only when you merge gamebook with other type of game like board game. I also saw a very nice solution with the Conan game, the Blood of Barbarian, released in, I believe this was released for sure in Italian, but also it was released in English, right,
Mm.
on Kickstarter by Valentino Sergi. And they also do the mix. They mix the book with the cards, and the deck that you are building is also some kind of your history. But if you just use only the book, there is no other way. You need to write down these things.
Actually, I had a copy of that. Valentino gave it to me, and I was at a convention and put it down, and then had to rush to get the plane, and I left it. And when I got to the airport, I thought, oh, I left that book, and I really wanted to read it. So, anyway, it's nice to hear about those mechanics. I have thought, because of course we use keywords, and that's a way of making sure that, because it used to be in very early game books, it would say things like, did you meet, the Queen of the South, and did she give you such and such? And you'd think, did I on this playthrough? Because you might have done several. So keywords are a way of remembering that. And I have thought we could have a section you go to for each, effectively a quest log. And when you went there, it would give you the recap according to the keyword you've got. So you'd go down a list and you'd say, I've got up to, for each quest, I've got up to this keyword. You'd turn there and it would give you a list, and then you'd use a, you know, in Vulcanverse, we called it current location. So you'd always have a return to the section you have noted. So you could go to the quest log anywhere in a print book at any time and then return to where you were, which would just be a way of the player not having to make any notes. We'd just have to spend about 20 paragraphs with recaps that they could refer to at any time, and they'd see where they were on that quest path. I mean, don't really need it perhaps for Whispers Beyond the Stars because it's a single story game book rather than an open world. But these are all mechanics that are worth developing.